Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and we got some more Throne of Eldraine preview cards to look at today. In particular, we're going to look at cards that in the past would have been exclusive to Planeswalker decks, but now you can also get them in collector boosters. Quick reminder before we get into it though, if you're looking to pre-order booster boxes of Throne of Eldraine, you can do so at FlipsideGaming.com. You can use that Heroes promo code, save a little cash. That also supports the channel. Also, I had a few people asking about Commander 2019 decks. Flipside Gaming did restock with just a small amount of them. I'll leave the information in the description below in case you want to check it out. But if you're still looking for those as well, they are up there, at least for right now. All right, let's get into it. Okay, before we get into those Planeswalker deck cards, I wanted to show you some variations on cards we saw the other day. This first grouping of cards, we saw either their extended art version or their showcase version. Now we get a look at the standard formatting. Those cards include the Circle of Loyalty, Midnight Clock, Piper of the Swarm, Rankle Master of Pranks, Flaxen Intruder, and Lovestruck Beast. So if you want to hear my thoughts on these cards, just check out the previous video where we talked all about them. On the flip side, we saw cards that were going to be the regular versions of the cards, but now we got to look at some of the showcase or extended art copies. So for showcase cards, we have Animating Fairy now, Beanstalk Giant, and Rosethorn Acolyte, and we get the extended art look at Gilded Goose. Since the other day, we also got to look at a token as well. This is an adventure token, so this clarifies some of the confusion around adventures, which is actually a nice reminder to have. Basically, one of the things that's not super obvious is you can't cast the creature out of exile unless the adventure had already resolved. This token kind of clarifies that. On an adventure, it says after an adventure resolves, you can place the exile card here. You may cast the creature from exile. So only if that adventure resolves can you go ahead and cast the creature from exile. Okay, let's get into those Planeswalker deck cards. Now, a couple things before we talk about them specifically. These are French language previews, so translations, they could be a little bit off when it comes to the name, so keep that in mind. Also, whenever you have cards that are exclusive to this product, they typically try to design them in such a way that they're not going to impact standard. They all are technically standard legal, but since you can only find them in the Planeswalker decks or now in the collector boosters, they want to be careful not to create a situation where there's too much demand on those particular cards. So here's your first two cards. On the left, you see the Core Set 2020 copy for translation purposes, but this is Thornwood Falls and Windscarred Crag. They did get new art, and the main reason I did want to point them out is because in the video the other day, we were not clear if they would be in the draft packs or not for sure. Looks like now that we have a true mock-up of the card, not just the Magic Arena copy, it appears they will not be in the draft packs. These will be in the corresponding Brawl decks or the corresponding Planeswalker decks. And like I mentioned, they could also show up in collector boosters. So for Planeswalker decks, Thornwood Falls is going to be in Oko's deck, Windscarred Crag is going to be in Rowan's deck. Okay, let's look at the other cards now in the Rowan deck first. This is Rowan Intrepid Spark Mage. This will be the foil front-facing card for the deck. Like I said, not a super powerful card or anything like that. Something you might choose to play casually, maybe throw in a commander deck. Definitely out of the box against the other Planeswalker deck, it's going to be pretty good. The +1 and the -2 makes me feel that this is going to be a relatively aggressive build. That seems to be the concept here. The -9 could be game winning as long as there's some sort of board state with a lot of creatures on it. However, if there was just a board wipe or something like that, then the -9 isn't all that good. But that's okay. I kind of like the design of this card, if nothing else. Again, nothing crazy here, but at least it's interesting. Garrison Griffin. Okay, this one is a take on these flyers in white that can fly, but also have something else attacking with it fly. But this time, it can only make a knight fly. Nothing too exciting, but again, out of the box against the other deck, it will be a good card. Next, we have Rowan's Bodyguard. Now, if this was a card you could play in Draft or Sealed, I would say it's a really good card. 3/3 for 4 with first strike, so the economy feels good. As long as you control a Rowan Planeswalker, so it doesn't have to be the one that comes in this particular deck. But if you have one, then this gets +3/+0. So you would have a 6/3 first striker in that situation. That's definitely not bad. This will be a strong card if you are playing against the other Planeswalker deck. But again, not a lot to say about it. Rowan's Valiant. Okay, this one is a 5/2 for 5, but this is the card that lets you search up your Planeswalker. And the most fun you can have playing these decks is when you actually get to play with the Planeswalker, so they always try to give you a card that makes that a little bit easier. Now, you can search your library and or graveyard when this enters the battlefield for Rowan, Intrepid, Sparkmage. Only that Rowan, though. Yeah, a pretty typical card for these Planeswalker decks. Okay, let's move on to Oko's deck. This is loosely translated again, Oko the Finesser. This one looks like a Stompy deck, and this will be the foil card that you get. So this one is a little more expensive. It costs 6. The ultimate is a little reminiscent of the previous Planeswalker. This time, until end of turn, each creature you control has base power and toughness 10/10 and gains trample. Very board state dependent, but as long as you have some creatures in this example, sure, you could possibly win the game with that. The +1, again, is good as long as you have at least a creature in play. The 0 is actually kind of interesting to me. Until end of turn, this becomes a copy of a creature you control. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. So, if nothing else, I really like the design here. Again, it's not super powerful, but it could be a fun Planeswalker. Oko's Accomplices will also be found in this deck. Not a lot to say about it. 2/3 Flying Fairy for a blue and 2. Roncefort Deceiver. So this is a 2/2 with upside, but the upside is pretty conditional. You have to have another Oko Planeswalker in play. Now that Oko Planeswalker does not have to be the one that comes in the deck, but if you do have one in play, then you can pay 8. Base power and toughness, this will change to a 10/10 until end of turn. Doesn't have trample, doesn't have evasion, so it's nothing crazy here, but there you go. Oko's Hospitality. Okay, so here's your way to actually fetch up Oko the Finesser in this deck. Now, this could be a double-edged sword. Yes, you can go ahead and tutor out of the library or graveyard for Oko the Finesser, but until end of turn, your creature's base power and toughness will all be 3/3. So if you have small creatures, that's great. If you have big creatures, that's not so great, right? But if this deck is using a lot of +1/+1 counters, which it could very well be, especially when you look back at Oko, that seems to be very likely, then if you do have some larger creatures, this won't be maybe as big of a drawback. Perhaps you just start off with smaller creatures and you build them up with +1/+1 counters. We haven't seen the whole deck yet, so it's kind of hard to say, but if that's the idea here, then this card could be a little bit better in this deck than it might normally be. Alright, with that being said, that's what we got for today. I actually like the design for these cards, considering they're Planeswalker deck cards. I have low expectations going in when it comes to these things. As long as they do something creative, I'm okay with it. Tomorrow, we are going to be back with our Market Watch videos. We always do on the weekends. Preview cards will continue coming out on Monday, so we'll go ahead and follow those over the next couple weeks as well. Until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.